Hello everybody, welcome to number 27. I am Jack and this is my new Audi A4 2.5 litre V6 that I got for free. In this video I'm going to talk to you about how I ended up being given the car for free. I'm going to talk about my plans for it, and then also I'm going to take it for a quick drive and give you my first impressions on how it is and what issues it does have. It does have a couple of issues, I will tell you already. So this is a year 2000 Audi A4 of the B5 variety. These cars were actually a huge step forward for Audi. Before this there was the 80, which was a good solid car. But when Audi released the B5, they really stepped things up a notch. And for the very first time, Mercedes and BMW had a proper competitor for their smaller cars. The 3 Series had absolutely dominated until this point. The B5 actually managed to take some sales from it. So how did I end up with it? Well, John, who is a viewer, just contacted me when I think he'd sent me a message previously, but also on the live chat when I did a live stream a while ago, he said, I have a free Audi if you want it. And actually my first reaction was, I don't actually want it, because I've been trying to get rid of cars up until this point. There's the Lexus, there's the Bismarck, there's also the Frog Eye. Out of those 3, probably 1 or 2 at least have to go. So I didn't really want another project. There's also the Sumo, the Lexus. I need to rationalize, but I thought perhaps something good could come of this. So let me just give you a bit of the background. So first of all, what John does is he makes these like incredible sculptures out of bits of reclaimed metal, mainly sort of old cutlery. So do go and have a look at his website, and I think he has a YouTube channel as well. I will put the links to both in the video description. But anyway, he bought this car a few years ago, I think 3 years ago, and he paid about £600 for it, so not that much. I think he had to do a little bit of work to get it to pass the various MOTs, and it's now at a stage where it has an MOT up until May. But there are a couple of things that need to be done with it to get it through that MOT. So by all accounts, this caliper here on the passenger rear side is binding, which again I think is super common with these, and I'm not sure how easy or difficult it will be to fix. Worst case scenario is a new caliper, which is going to be about £75 or maybe a bit less, plus the money to fit it. There's also a leak, so there's a fluid leak at the front, petrol leak or diesel leak. This is a diesel, it's a 2.5 V6 diesel with 150 horsepower turbo diesel, so quite a good engine, I think. But anyway, the point is, what am I going to do with this car? I didn't want to buy it just because, you know, okay, I'll get it, I'll MOT it, and then I'll see if I can make some money off it. It just didn't sit quite right with me, someone giving me a car. It's not worth very much as it is, but still, it's not what I wanted to do. And then I thought, well, with everything that's happening at the moment in Ukraine, it might be a good opportunity for me to get this, see if we can get it, if it's good enough to get MOT'd again without spending too much money on it, since it has cost me nothing. Then any of the profit that I get, I will give away to a Ukrainian charity for refugees. So I don't have time to work on this car personally at the moment, so I'm going to take it to Anton's place and we'll have a look at it together, and if we think that it's solid enough and good enough to just get up to scratch without having to spend much money, then that is my plan. So far I had to have it delivered up here. It was down in Brighton, so that's cost me basically a couple of £100. On top of that, there's these 2 issues at least that we know about, so the petrol leak and this rear caliper. I don't think it is binding at the moment, but I'm not sure. So I'm thinking, if I can get away with getting it MOT'd for under £500, with a brand new MOT, it has to be worth, I mean, at the very least 800 quid, maybe even £1,000, and that would give me £300 to £500 profit to give away to charity. Let's take a quick look around the car and see what general condition is, and then I'm going to take it for a drive, see how it drives. At first glance, it really doesn't look too bad or too rough. Let's have a bit of a closer look. One of the things that stands out is this wing, and John had told me actually it's been replaced, and it's a noticeably different colour. There are various colours on this car, but it's not terrible. It's just a slightly darker grey, so that has been replaced. There's a little bit of a gap there with the bumper, you know, not a huge deal. It's very dirty and it does need a good a good wash. This wing looks like it has a bit of lacquer reaction or something of that kind. Maybe it's been resprayed at some point. But again, for this kind of car and the amount it's worth, I'm not worried. But yeah, it's got Michelins all round, which is nice. They are winters, but again, perfectly fine and not that worried about that. I think actually Sumo, my Lexus, also has winters. So there's loads of greenery, but the fabric of the car looks pretty good. It could just do with a really good wash, but it has most of the body trim that I can see there. All looks pretty good. Tyres are all matching, which is nice. Again here, loads of signs of just not having been washed for an awfully long time. A couple of little dings with rust starting to show. But really, it's pretty good. I think John said that he had sort of taken care of some rust here, and that's not noticeable with the car quite dusty, so that looks okay. And all the wheels look okay. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. Let's have a quick look at the interior and see what's going on there. So back end first. It's leather, which is great, and the back of it looks really quite nice. Not that much wear. There usually isn't in the back. It's got some nice wooden inserts. And the front, okay, it's got quite severely worn bolster there, but the car was free, and it's not bad actually. It looks quite good. Once you're sitting in it and you can't see that bolster, it's actually really rather good. This leather still feels quite good quality, quite supple, nice wood inserts. It's got that little bit, that's a shame, might try and glue that down. Now that's the other thing, it has a Quattro sticker on it. I don't know if it is a Quattro, but I think it might be actually. But yeah, the interior looks really good actually, really good. All the switch gear isn't bad. Where's the key? Where have I taken it out? Nobody is going to steal it. So, outrageous again. First of all, it's in reserve. I mean, how could you, John? Secondly, it's due a service, which is terrible. But a plus is, I know those screens go all the time, and that screen is okay. And let's start her up. All looks okay, all lights up. Let's tell you, all the switch gear feels really nice. Steering wheel isn't too worn. It does have 239,000 miles on it, so quite a big mileage. But and actually I was joking about it being in reserve, but it's not even actually at the bottom of reserve, which is much better than many cars I have paid for. So first impressions, not bad. Let's take it out, see how it goes. So first impressions are pretty good actually. I mean, especially considering that it's free, but it certainly doesn't seem like it's a basket case past rescuing. I mean, we'll have to see once we get it up on the ramp. We'll see how the engine goes and then work it out from there. Oh, windscreen wipers work, the lights just tried, they also work, and the engine is already warmed up. It's been idling for quite a while, so let's see. Nice and smooth, pulls nicely. It feels like, obviously it doesn't have a lot of grunt, but it does feel like it still has roughly 150 horsepower. It's got 2000 revs, it's got nice, smooth, linear pickup. It's quiet, it's smooth. I haven't so far felt any particular knocking noises. The steering feels maybe a little bit vague. That could be all sorts of things though. It could be tyre pressures, it could be general wear and tear, or it could just be that that's how they drive, because I don't think I've driven one of these, a standard one of these anyway. And it's not bad for a little old diesel in terms of grunt. It's all right, and it is very smooth. The gearbox is nice and crisp, but there's not much play in there either. It's a nice 6-speed, which is great. And brakes, hip brakes maybe slightly spongy, but not bad. Got to get used to driving a diesel and remember that there's absolutely no point in revving them. It rides well. It's maybe a tiny bit wallowy, but again, I don't know what these are like as standard, but it rides the bumps really well, and you can't feel, there's no noises from the suspension. Let's do a bit of a better braking manoeuvre and see what it does. Actually, the brakes are all right. I know that rear caliper is supposed to be binding, but the pedal feel maybe isn't rock hard, but it brakes absolutely fine. So it's all looking good. It's comfortable as well. It feels like a nice car. Don't forget these B5s when they came out, that some people are saying it's the last real Audi. There's the same generation Passat as well, which is quite sought after, because these cars really were built properly. It's the old style stuff, as against the newer ones, which, you know, they may look flashier and have nicer interiors, but they weren't built to the same standards. Goes around just fine. There's the petrol warning light now, and also the windscreen washer, which again, John, how could you? It goes round corners really well. It doesn't feel like there's any sort of slack in the suspension components. Gearbox is good. Everything is all right so far. Everything seems to be all right. Okay, well look everybody, join me for the next episode when we're going to put it on the ramp and have a proper sort of closer look and see what might need doing to get it through an MOT. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens then, basically. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, I have so many different cars, I always use the wrong stalk. But yeah, please do subscribe if you haven't already, and fingers crossed that we can make this work and get some money for a useful charity.